It's time to set the record queer. Anime was a mistake.
You're not incorrect.
You get like 30 seconds to breathe while the theme music is happening. Welcome to Setting the Record Queer, a podcast where queer people talk about the pursuits and communities they love. We are live right now at Tora-Con 2019. That person is excited. It seems like there are some more people that are excited. So how many of you listen to our podcast?
A couple.
Okay, we've got a lot of new people here. That's cool. So, hi, I just said this. We're Setting the Record Queer. This is a podcast where queer people talk about the pursuits and communities they love. Today, I'm Alexis. My pronouns are it, its, and she, her.
I'm Kaylee. My pronouns are she, her.
And today we are going to be talking to some wonderful and very, very talented people from the anime fandom community right here at Tora-Con. Hello, people in the future listening to this as well. I apologize for the audio quality. Quick plug. Once this panel's over, all of you should go to Gosnell 2300 and watch the Speedruns Rochester speedrunning event that's going to be going on for the rest of Tora-Con. Just go hang out there. We're going to be playing video games fast. I'm covered in sweat right now because I sprinted over here to do this panel after setting that event up.
Oh my gosh.
Because nothing ever works when you're doing a speedrunning marathon. Can attest. Okay, do you want to move on? Let's introduce our guests. So we have three wonderful, very, very talented guests here who do super duper duper cool stuff. Why don't you go down the line and introduce yourselves?
I'm Alexandra. What are your pronouns? She, her.
I'm Gwen/Sam, and my pronouns are anything, just don't call me late for dinner.
You're late for dinner.
And I'm KJ, and I'm they, them.
So what do all of you do? Why don't we start going down the line, tell us a little bit about inform us again, just like a nice little reminder of why we brought you onto this panel, maybe?
You starting with me this time?
Yes.
Go for it.
Okay, so like I said, I'm KJ, and if you've been in the dealer's room, I'm the incredibly colorful gay booth there. And it's because there were no LGBTA booths when I came to Tora-Con before, so I was like, well, I already have a booth, why not? And I actually educate people in their 50s and 60s about new queer terms and stuff. Every year on a site, I break out the entire encyclopedia and explain it, and it's really wonderful having a 7-year-old saying, "Oh my God, I'm asexual," and I'm like, "Yes, you are. It's valid. It's real."
My turn, I guess.
Yes, your turn.
Well, I'm a semi-professional cosplayer. I've been cosplaying for 12 years now. 12 or
Yeah, you've been cosplaying way longer than I have.
yeah, I've been cosplaying since I was 12. My very first costume was 25% Sharpie, so I think as we can all attest, that happens.
It does.
But I've been cosplaying professionally for 5-ish years-ish.
Yeah.
But I cosplayed a lot of stuff.
I drug you into the pro world at 2012.
Yeah,
I did.
yeah, basically.
So you're a competitive cosplayer.
I am competitive. I haven't won any big events. I've won some smaller awards from smaller cons, but I've never gone to Katsu-Con and won first place or anything crazy like that. I do it for funsies on the side, but I am professional, but I'm not here to make money off of it, if that makes sense.
What is competitive cosplay?
Competitive cosplay, well, there's a couple different categories.
There's
Workmanship,
yeah.
craftsmanship,
yeah.
That's the word.
That's
craftsmanship, which is basically how well did you make this costume and how accurate is it to your source material. So that can be anything from how straight did you sew this line to you spent $200 or $1,000 and you spent 2 months straight working on it nonstop, and
We've seen people like fully like smith out their own armor for
Yeah.
Boromir before from Lord of the Rings, which is insane. Never been happier to lose to a man in my life.
yeah,
He deserved it, okay?
that's a fair assumption. But yeah, there's craftsmanship, there's the acting portion,
Yep.
and I feel like that's the portion a lot more people go into because it's less about your costume and more about how well you can act as that character, and how well you can plan out how well you can improvise and how well you can plan out what you're going to say. So there's kind of that component. What else?
Then there's the walk-on one, which is just literally you being the model showing off the cosplay that you put together in any way possible, and how well it looks and how well you are acting as that character in like a 30-second stretch.
Yeah, that's the one a lot of
new people do, yeah.
Yeah, because it's quick and simple, and you don't really need a ton of prep, and it's a good way to get your foot in the door.
What? No, I need water.
Oh,
Yeah,
Quickly,
we are all need water.
hydrate. It's good for you.
Stay hydrated. Alexandra, why don't you tell us about what you do?
Not 100% sure why I was invited, but I am here. I'm gay. I mostly help them out in the dealer's hall with setup and such like that. Not really competitive with cosplay. I'm kind of just like, oh, I have this in my closet. It'll work. To which
She's
we've all
here.
been there.
She's queer. She's ready to go.
Alright. I wouldn't say that.
That's what we need.
I am ready to take a nap.
Here we are on Setting the Record Queer with professional napper Alexandra.
What up? That's a title I'll get behind.
That would be a fun episode. So tell me about how you nap.
Usually in my bed, sometimes on my couch.
Sometimes on the floor.
Sometimes on the floor.
Now this sounds like a Dr. Seuss book. Okay, so going back to the beginning of the line, starting with KJ, why don't you each give us a rundown of like your history of doing all of the stuff that you do that's brought you here to Tora-Con?
Okay, so weirdly enough, we met back when you were 12 and I was 14.
We met
And
at
then
Girl Scout
we met at
camp.
Girl Scout camp.
And now we're neither of us are girls.
Hell yeah! That's the complete circle over here. But basically in 2012, I went to my first con. It was Tora-Con, and it was a wild ride of time because I was in a pact with 4 human beings that we would completely knit our cosplays. And I was the only one who went to the con, and I was the only one who knit an entire cosplay. So, like, I did everything. I, like, knew the judges ahead of time, so I, like, even knit, like, socks and underwear for the cosplay just to prove that I did it type of thing. And I won an honorary mention at my first con I ever went to. And a guy was like, oh my god, I hate you. This is the most accurate replica of Weighted Dawn that I've seen today, and it's made out of yarn. And since then I kept competitive cosplaying, and in 2015
Question.
Yeah.
Was it extremely comfortable or extremely uncomfortable?
It was extremely comfortable. It's actually like really breathable, and it was like 99 degrees and like 100% humidity that year, so.
Hey, there you go. Those
Yeah.
cosplay skills actually getting you something in life.
Harsh.
I did not mean that doesn't happen. I'm so bad at words.
And then in 2015, I just started running my own booth. It started off really like gamer heavy and like cute like chibi amigurumi. And then a few years ago, I realized that I was missing that piece of community where I walked into a dealer's room and there was just an LGBTA booth there with like as many pride flags as possible and like being run by an LGBTA person. And I made it my goal to do that. And my booth is probably 80% LGBTA now, which is a lot further than when I started from.
That's excellent. That's I mean, like, what booth am I going to go to when I go to the dealer's room?
I've actually seen several of you at my booth today, so thanks.
The queers are drawn to the flags like moths and
Yeah.
lights. That's a relatable
That's
meme
true.
to the anime
Now all
crowd,
you need to
right?
do is make them shiny.
Like a pack of pansexuals were my first customers of the day, and that was kind of exciting.
A pack of pansexuals.
Pack of pansexuals.
As we all know, a group of pansexuals is known as a pack.
Yes, literally. And I believe a lesbian is like a flock.
Yeah, it's
wait.
a flock of lesbians, and
murder of-
a
a gang
murder
of
of
gays.
guys.
Wait, I'm sorry, but a group of pansexuals has to be a recipe.
For what?
For destruction of the straights.
That's fair. A goal we can all get behind. Yeah.
Okay. If you have anything else to say, feel free. Otherwise, Gwen, you're up next.
Yeah. Do you have anything else?
I'm good.
Okay. Well, I mentioned before my very first cosplay was 25% Sharpie.
Can you tell us about that? I want to know what
Yes.
was going on.
Yes. I was 12 years old and I had never been to an anime convention in my life. My sister, who is 7 years older than me, and of course that meant she was much, much wiser, and I wanted to be just like her when I grew up, because I was 12. She decided one year to take me to MegaCon with her, and she was Ino from Naruto, I think, and it was just
This is like the true timestamp of when it was, okay, guys?
yeah, this was circa 2005. I'm old. But I decided I wanted to be Kairi from Kingdom Hearts because I loved it. But I didn't want to be just any Kairi. I wanted to be Kingdom Hearts 1 Kairi. And since Kingdom Hearts 2 had just come out, you couldn't find that anywhere. So what we did was we went to the thrift shop. We somehow found a purple skirt. I don't know how we did that. We messed with it a bit, and then we got a white tank top, and then we colored it with purple Sharpie to make the details. And I think I had some white shoes that we colored with purple Sharpie. I had a belt that was purple Sharpied. The only thing I don't think I Sharpied was my hair. Thank God.
A moment of silence for all the purple Sharpies.
Yeah. We went through many purple Sharpies.
So what you're saying is you walked into that con looking Sharpie.
Yes, I did. I thought I was the hottest shit on the block because I was 12 and I thought I looked so cool.
What? You bunch of punny bastards.
I know. Don't you hate it?
I do hate it.
I know you hate it. That's why we keep doing it.
And then I actually was there for Alexandra's first convention, and it's one of the most beautiful stories of a con that I think had ever happened.
Right. My first con was Canon Con. God rest its soul.
Canon Con
Press
lasted a
out,
whole
play respect to pay
2
respects.
years. Well, there's forever a cursed image that says "See you in 2018," so we think it's because they planned too far ahead. But it's a wild story involving embezzlement and embezzlement, and actually the student director fleeing to Brazil
For fraud.
for fraud.
Caught through luncheons.
Right, so it was a wild ride.
JCC's a wild ride of school.
Yeah.
Don't go there, ever.
Don't go to JCC.
But you got dragged into your first Canon Con the week before,
Pretty much.
instantly tossed into being staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just needed people.
She got off a plane and then.
No,
Went
that was
straight-
the next year.
That was the
Oh,
next
was
year.
it the
That was the next year I came back from California.
Okay, I was like, you got off a plane and
Okay,
then
no.
passed out behind the booth.
I think it's safe to say that Alexandra is the disaster gay of the group.
Yeah.
The true disaster gay?
Oh, I'm a
the
disaster.
gay.
I thought you were the
Well,
anxiety
I'm gonna
gay.
fight you over that title.
Okay, I'll fight you and I'll lose.
All right,
because I'm
raise your hand if you're one of the disaster gays. Disaster gays in the room.
Anxiety gaze.
And then raise your hand if you're one of the anxiety gays, because I'm both today.
Same. 2 hands up.
Gotta say, love the shoes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Rainbow shoes.
I did see if we're taking stock here. I did see at least one sword lesbian walk into the room, so we can
Yeah.
get a show of
Perfect. Do we have a
hands.
sword lesbian?
I love her.
We have an Alucard cosplayer in the audience who is a sword lesbian because obviously,
Yes.
Alucard is a trans icon.
Beautiful. Everyone needs one.
I love him. He just the way he
So
floats out of the
you got
con.
drunk at the Canon Con, but the next convention, the first one that you helped me with at a booth, was probably the most beautiful one of all. Because we had another friend intervene and go, oh no, Alexandra doesn't do cons. And then 20 minutes later, I get a message saying, I bought a ticket.
You cannot say anything if I am not spiteful. I'm completely spiteful.
And it's worked so far.
You just tell her to not do something, and that's how you get her to do something.
Hey, shut up.
Listen,
Hey, I'm the mean one here.
I'm sorry. Would you like
Bold
to
of you to assume I'm not mean.
That explains why you're here. No, I'm kidding. We invited you.
No, I wasn't invited. I just showed up and I was like, I'm gonna sit here
It's
now.
like a cat.
like a cat?
Put it out and wants to come back
This is
in.
my spot.
I mean, you haven't told about the destruction of your couch by Alexandra repeatedly flopping on it until the couch.
Okay, to
literally
be fair, that couch was
To be
already
fair, the
going
couch
out the
was already
door.
its last legs, and it saw me through when I had pneumonia over the summer. So, we successfully destroyed a couch by having, 3 gays throw it over a balcony. And, my husband, who used to identify as, completely straight, and then I was like, all of your exes are gender fluid, right? And he's like, wow.
Wow.
He doesn't know what he is, but
He
it's
was like,
probably
how do we
not.
safely get it down the stairs? And I was like, look out below.
All right.
Yeah, let's get into talking a little bit more about your work. I think let's start with talking about cosplays.
Yeah. So, 2 of us are professional cosplayers.
Yeah.
My proudest cosplay that I've ever done and will probably ever do, because I accidentally made a lot of people cry happy tears, was I did Sophia the First. And when I did Sophia the First, I decided not to go normal because I wasn't thinking ahead. Okay, this is purely it. I was not thinking ahead. I started sequining out the like embellished bottom, and I didn't do just the plain one. I did like the full like ball gown fantasy opening one.
Hoop skirt.
And it was 10,000 sequins and like 1,000 pearls hand strung. And the moment I put it on, I was so nervous about it. And that's the one thing, like people are always like, how are you so successful? I actually have crippling anxiety, okay? I'm anxious every time I put on a costume. I'm anxious every time I re-put on a costume.
I'm just anxious.
But
in
I
general.
walked out of the hotel, and then I walked into Katsu-Con in that one, and the very first person who like recognized me started crying. And she's like, oh my god, nobody's done this to this level before. And I'm just like, I'm sorry. I got over ambitious and then I couldn't go back. And it turned out like the entirety of like the Disney princess meetups in like DC, like the group that runs them and does princess parties, they've been following me on Instagram, like watching the ball gown in process. And they're like, it's better than the Disneyland one. And I'm just like, oh snap. I didn't mean to.
Every single child that day was
So happy. And that's
So
the coolest
happy.
thing. Like, if you're a cosplayer and you put on a costume and you're anybody, be prepared to make somebody, like, really just believe in you. Like, I don't look like a Disney princess right now. I'm dressed as, like, Ka-chan from My Hero Academia, and I'm screaming in the hallways.
You're covered in blood.
I am covered in blood.
It's not real blood.
My husband forgot it was fake blood, actually. I love him. He's a disaster, too.
Maybe
But,
not, maybe not a disaster. day, but
I got
he's
into
a
cosplaying because I just wanted to be, you know, I just wanted to make my skills more exciting. And then I've been lifted up every time by communities. The first one was a knitting community who watched me go through making the entirety of Riku. And like when I won that award in Otakon, I was crying backstage. And he was like so confused. And I'm like, literally over 500 people have been watching the creation of this. And I'm like, everyone knows that I was doing this, and to go back home with something like this. And like now, like even I didn't actually know I was a gay back then. Long story short, my mother, when she tried insulting me in high school, was a long way off of the truth, because she once called me a lesbian with no friends. Jokes, Mom. I'm now a man, and
You have many friends.
many friends. And I'm
Excuse
married.
you, I'm the lesbian with no friends.
I have at least 3.
3.
I'm here for you.
I'm here for you. And I think you even have like a girlfriend or something.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's almost like she's sitting in the front row.
Oh my god. Well, according to work, I have no friends because I'm always there.
That's fair. I mean, I haven't seen you in like 2 months.
Yeah, no, we haven't seen each other because we're all busy adults.
Yeah, having jobs is hard.
Yep.
I just sleep on the couches at JCC and hope no one bugs me.
I mean, does it work?
Sometimes.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Good. Oh, is it my turn?
It's your turn, yeah.
Would you like to
Okay.
say something?
Yes. Are you gonna keep interrupting me?
Yes.
Fine. God. Well, I mentioned earlier, my sister's the one that got me into it. She's very much a very casual cosplayer. She's, now that she's older, she's in her 30s now, she's old. She's older than me. Oh my god.
I'm 28.
My sister's 32, she's winning. She's winning the old contest.
I think it's the exact
Age
opposite of winning right there.
Anyway, my sister is very, very casual, so she helped me like whip together that Kyrie costume in like a week. And I loved it so much that I just kind of kept doing it. I've been sewing on and off since I was probably 8. The first thing I ever sewed, I had a doll that only had one outfit, and so I decided at 8 years old that I was gonna sew her a new outfit, and it sure was a piece of cloth on a doll.
I did the same exact thing, like when I
know.
was 8, so.
I think it was like a Madeline doll or something. but I was like, she needs more than one outfit, clearly.
Yeah.
Apparently, I was just in the age of Polly Pockets where they gave you like 5 outfits and it was the weird plastic ones.
Oh yeah, the
Where you just kind of slipped it on.
My cat ate all my Polly Pockets.
Some of you know what I'm talking about.
I remember those.
Polly Pockets. But yeah, I just kind of improved my skills gradually over the years. I didn't jump straight into cosplay. I just kind of fell into it.
You like were going
gradually.
along pretty steadily, and then like a bunch of us just threw you in the deep end.
Yeah, basically. Like, I wasn't a beginner, but I wasn't a professional either, and now here I am. Sitting in front of all of you. Hello.
Cool.
So let's talk about artist alley booths. How do you run one good?
Oh my
don't.
god, you don't. Okay, so to put
Yep,
this
how
in
do you run one
perspective,
good? I'm
I'm
professional.
actually like a graduate of college with a business degree and a hospitality and tourism degree. So I did go to school actually to learn things for my business. I owned a business first. When I was sitting in my hospitality and tourism class, my teacher let me know that I had more experience than the rest of the class combined.
Well,
So I felt really weird about that one. But you have to do a lot of market research. Like, you have to always do research. You have to stay on top of trends. You have to be willing to invest and take risks. Because I was really scared, and I was like, well, what happens if I switch over to LGBTA merch? Like, what if nobody buys it? And I'm like, might as well go for it.
why not?
So you have to have like a little bit of a risk-taking edge to you about it. You need to plan things. You have to have like certain things in with the state too. I have like a DBA, a tax ID. I have to file with the state every year. I'm not valid in DC.
Yep.
Oh no, I have to pay my taxes.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
If you've
what a
not paid your
move.
taxes yet, I think like April 13th is the deadline or something.
Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow.
Pay your taxes!
April 15th.
My mom got the tax stuff out and it's still sitting on the like office
Same.
desk.
Honestly, I'm awful at that.
Alexander Hamilton did not die for you to not pay your taxes.
But like, you have to be willing to like put
Die
work
because
into
he's a
it,
dumbass.
take criticism when you
know.
can. And then you have to like just tweak it and tweak it over time. Like every single time I go to a con, my booth looks different. I have different merch coming out. Dice bags were like insane about how popular they were. That was just like a throwaway I did at one con, and we sold out in like an hour. And I sewed at my booth at my like 2 cons ago. Just had my sewing machine in my booth and like all the fabric on the table, saying pick
Pick one.
one, pick 2.
Pick 2.
So you have to be like willing to like do market trends, as you guys can see. It takes a lot of confidence too. You can. I'm not. Well, I actually am an extroverted person, but I've like surrounded myself by introverts. It's amazing.
How will you do?
But you have to be able to talk to people. You have to be friendly. And you have to deal with like booth barnacles and people who just have nothing nice to say. And I've won people over that before. Because he was looking at my booth and he was like trying to come up with a good word. I'm like, yeah, we have every flavor of gay on the market. And he stops and he's like, it's not for my particular taste. And I'm like, but dang, is it good ice cream?
Hey, can I stop by later for some mint chocolate chip gay?
Whatever that entails, yes.
Yes.
We'll figure it out later.
There
Okay.
sure is some gay there.
I'm quickly
That
running
is
out of gay though.
terrifying.
You're gonna get back and there's not gonna be any gay left. It's just gonna
God,
be
that-
Tyler sitting there sadly by himself. In the-
Tired gay energy over there.
So, Alexandra, do you have anything to add to the discussion of how to run an artist alley booth good?
I just kind of sit there.
Be prepared for changes, like day of. I've had my booth switched on me. We went to Rock-Con once and I actually had like a massive infection in my mouth and they drugged me to the hospital.
Yeah, we had to make them go to the hospital.
Sure did.
We had to drag them to the hospital. They wouldn't go.
So please take care of yourself at cons or else you'll be like me who had pneumonia and like a bunch of infections. And they're like, you just had anxiety. And I'm like, no, that's something else entirely. I have that too, but this is not it.
You're not wrong, but
You're not wrong, but this is not the correct answer.
Actually, Alexandra, tell you what, I have a specific question for you. I know you said you do a lot of like the setup stuff. What are the do's and don'ts of setting up a booth? Like, has there been anything you've noticed over the years of doing this? Like, if you set it up like this, it's bad or like difficult to access or whatever?
Well, I mean, it depends on like where the booth is. Like, if it's like a booth where you walk into it, then you have to set up in a specific way different from if you just get like one table, which is usually vendor hall versus artist alley. It's not really like it's semi-related. If you're going to be building the little towers, don't try to pick it up.
Yeah.
Or else it's gonna break apart.
It only collapsed once.
We didn't knock anything on the floor, which I think is a miracle.
Right.
But yeah, it's like,
We've seen displays like crumble before and people.
yeah, and I mean, sometimes it's just like testing, like you put stuff out there, and then you like, does it look good to the eye? Like, does it look too cluttered? Does it look too empty? Then you just kind of shift stuff to where it doesn't look like that anymore.
What about neighbors who aren't polite? Because you were there for that one. You both were.
You just
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of keep shift it to the right and hope they don't notice you're moving their display.
Yeah.
Or you get a giant board and just put it right in the way.
Which is fun.
Or you get my 6-foot-tall husband and put him in the way.
That's another way to do it.
So basically what happened is the first con that like the three of us sold together at, because every now and then Gwen also helps me out in the booth.
I usually do prints, but like they're just like little stickers.
Yeah. But with
There's
like
nothing
Tora-Con's like really strict
bananas.
rules this year, we had to like go down to just my merch for once.
Yeah.
And I get why they're doing it. It's nothing against Tora-Con. They just had people who like would get a group of friends together and they'd all put into a booth and they'd all share the booth no matter who got it type of thing. So they're trying to like cut down on people putting in for too many booths when there's only like one booth in the making anyway. So, but what happened was that the first con that we sold together at, we had like a 10 by 10 foot space. And we didn't have really tall displays that year because I was just starting to go full time into this. And the guy next to us was selling Funko Pops. And Funko Pops are really cool. I collect them myself too. But the guy faced all of his Funko Pops like into our booth. So people were shopping in our booth for Funko Pops. And I think we had to get really creative that way to just deal with him throughout the day. Like at one point we would just kind of like shove all the merch back onto the shelf and like turn the shelf on him.
Yeah. We didn't have the big towers at the time.
We didn't have the towers, but
we
like,
didn't think of that.
we like literally stacked up cardboard after cardboard until we like covered all of his Funko Pops. That said, not ours. And just big words.
I'm just imagining you trying to like sell, and you're just like, and someone comes up to the booth, and you're trying to say hi, welcome, and like,
They just, like, straight to the Funko Pops.
Yeah.
3,000 Funko Pop, like
Next
dead, beady
door.
black eyes just staring your soul.
Basically, that's what it
I
was.
hate those
And they
things.
like,
Just
oh,
putting it
and
out
like they
there.
would apologize to
They're,
us
like,
too, so they knew
soulless.
they were doing something wrong.
They're the new Furbies.
So we just like started shoving it over more and more, and then they wouldn't fix the problem. So we got like our two friends who were taller than 6 feet to just stand there, like big guardians, to block them from shopping that way. And boy, the next day when we came in, did they have their entire booth changed.
Well,
And we both did better business because of it too. Like that's the thing. Like a lot of people are like, oh, you need to have as much display as possible. You really don't. You need to have like a clearly defined your space. You need to not have an empty table next to you, because that's called dead space. And I dealt with that in my last con where like we had 2 no-shows and one of the no-shows was like next to us. So the other artist and I like realized that sales were dropping pretty badly. So what we did was we like slowly took over the table between us and like met in the middle. And then finally when like the convention came to take it down, we're like,
I don't know
too
how
late
that
now.
happened. That's just, it happened. I don't know.
Yeah. But like you have to have good stock. The rule of thumb, if you ever want to get into it, is that you need to have 3 times your cost to get there and the table. So travel cost, food cost, table cost, you want to have 3 times that amount in stock ready to go, minimum. And when you're doing like a convention every other weekend, kind of like where we are now, it's really hard to do. My works have just assumed that I'm showing up with gigantic project bags every time I come in. I'm always hand sewing. They've seen me like be injured. They've injured me too, just from lack of sleep. I have a really lovely like popcorn burn from Regal Cinema. It's my own fault. But like, yeah, you just have to like work through it. It is not a job where you can quit your day job right away. I work 2 jobs right now. I work at a fabric store. Guess which one that is? I'm not allowed to say it, but there's only one in America. Like a chain. Yeah, the other ones are more craft stores versus fabric stores, so it's pretty easy to narrow down the market. I either work at one of the big 3, and one of them doesn't sell fabric at all. So,
Yep.
So like I work 2 jobs. I'm a part-timer at both jobs, so I like work like a full-time job between them. And then whenever I'm not at either jobs, where it's constantly working on stock, I have really lovely friends who come over and help clean my apartment.
You're welcome.
And like, I know 2 of them are in this room right now. They come over, they help clean, they help pack, they help like carry up like stock. And I couldn't be anywhere without them. So you have to have like a really good team around you. And oh, thanks. That's kind of gay, but that's the point.
Oh no, that's
Well, on this podcast,
What?
that's
Gays
crazy.
in my
Gays?
podcast?
Where?
More likely than you think.
'Cause I think do you still have 2 jobs or like
Yeah.
1.5 jobs?
Yeah,
One and a
somebody-
half.
Because I thought you quit the one.
No.
Okay.
No, somebody's back at Olive Garden now.
Oh, I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
hate myself.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, one of them is the reason that Alexandra doesn't have a lot of questions answered now is because, like I said, she's going through school, getting 2 degrees at once, also working 2 jobs,
Jeez.
and like one of the longest commutes possible to a commuter school.
Hey,
because-
can't wait to get out of JCC, guys.
Yeah.
I have exactly one full
Give me your liberal arts
To
school
put
suggestions.
JCC into perspective, I was in a long distance relationship and we commuted to the same college.
from opposite sides.
Yeah, we lived like an hour apart.
Yep. I'm very thankful that I have one full-time job. Thank God.
Yeah.
But I also do tutoring on the side for a 4th grader.
Yeah.
So it's not like that's the only way I'm making money. And then I do sometimes do the booth. I'm probably the one who does it the least, just because
You have a full-time job.
I have a full-time job and I live with my parents, so I don't
and
have
I don't
to pay
know,
rent.
I got like married or something, so
I guess.
now he has to come do it.
And also, like, you sew things. I do prints, and I don't have time to draw anymore. So I'm just reselling the same prints from, like, 2 years ago. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Honestly, I find a soft joy in going to a con and seeing like the same printer, the same artist that I saw the year before. It's like, hey, I remember this one. There's
like,
this one person who goes to Matsuri-Con that sells this set of prints that's Super Ultra Mega Man. It's Superman and Ultraman and Mega Man in different combined forms. And every time it's just like, this is still funny.
like there's like one vendor here. They're the one who do like the heart buttons and things. I've seen them at like every single convention that I've been to. I mean, like Otakon, YubiCon, like we're talking Otakon. Like why are they
Who
there?
are they?
I think they were like at KatsuCon too. I don't know. I see them everywhere, and I'm like, thanks for being like the mom I never got.
Okay, why don't we move on?
Okay.
We have a lot of things to say on this podcast. So I have a question that I think is like a makes you think kind of question that I'm curious for y'all's perspectives on. So this is kind of like an anime fandom roundtable. So the common ground of anime is consumption. It's watching shows, reading books. What's it like being a creator in a space where the common ground is consumption?
Tiring.
Yeah. Well, I think
Tiring.
a lot of people in people who go to conventions are some form of creator, even if it's just, I drew on this t-shirt and I made it my own, and I'm like, good for you, you made something.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there's sort of a equal amount of consumption versus making.
It's so easy to miss trend too. Like you can just like completely like miss one because you're like
That's why meme,
sick for like a week.
Yeah. Meme
Like-
booths don't do well because the memes go out.
Like
so
I missed the
fast.
entirety
memes
of
go
Cells
out.
at Work. We like saw like a Cells at Work like entire
Memes
like
go out.
cosplay parade, and I was like, what is this? What is this like X-Men knockoff in front of me? And someone's like, no, it's an entire like anime. And I'm like, oh.
Well, my rule of
They have
thumb.
like the X sign with like the yellow flags, and like that was all I saw the entire day. And I'm just like, is this a weird X-Men universe?
My rule of thumb is ask what are the kids into these days,
Yep.
and one day someone will give you an answer.
Yeah, we have like, a
Like
bunch
right now, everyone's obsessed with My Hero Academia,
Here I am.
and I'm just like, okay,
You sure are here.
all right. I'm still missing Voltron, and I didn't
I'm
even like
sorry.
the last like 3 seasons.
I'm sorry. I don't know. What was that one thing we saw at exactly one convention, but it was everywhere for one convention. It was a guy with a boombox. It was a music video that had just come out. It might have been that.
Cuphead?
What?
No, it's not Cuphead.
No, it wasn't Cuphead.
It was like the remake of Sir Mix-a-Lot's like.
That's what it was.
And there was like buns everywhere.
Yeah.
Just buns everywhere and people selling buns and looking for
For
buns. And there's just, like, people
exactly-
carrying like baskets of bread.
Exactly one convention.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it was gone.
Alternatively, just go with things that will never die.
Rickroll.
Like Homestuck.
I was gonna say Natalia, but that works too.
I crawled out of the Homestuck dumpster, okay?
Second episode
I
in a
see
row where
you.
we had to talk about
Why can't we make it through episodes anymore without talking about Homestuck?
I'm just saying, it's never gonna die.
Homestuck!
If it makes anybody feel better, I did graduate and we now have a trash can at the booth named Minetta.
At least we're not in the trash can anymore.
Right? We got out of it finally.
It's just next to us instead.
All right, let's talk community. Let's talk about the general community of cons. How's being queer in it, and what's it like?
amazing.
Yeah, it's
Amazing.
Probably one of the more accepting queer communities I've ever experienced ever. Because I don't know why. I think just people are more open in general in this community, and it gives people who are queer more opportunity to be themselves because this community is so out there.
Mhm.
Not out there.
Welcoming.
Welcoming. That's
It's
the
kind
word.
of out there.
I know English. I promise.
It's kind of out there.
I English good.
I mean, we've had episodes
That
with
episode made
writers,
me cringe.
and like this isn't one of them, so it's fine.
It's fine.
It might be actually. I don't know if any of you write, but like,
No.
I'm in an English class. I'm failing that English class, but I'm in it.
I mean, hey, I'm failing a linguistics class, so solidarity.
Oh yeah, no, we're doing
I'm
great.
not failing out linguistics class.
Who understands Shakespeare anyway?
What?
I'm the guy who looks betrayed there. Like he looks completely betrayed.
No, it was so weird because like back when I was in college, we didn't have like a solid group to form on, and we like people tried starting anime clubs, but like we were so blocked by an actual aggressive, people who were trying to stop like illegal viewings. I don't care. I honestly don't care. View anime in public. Come at me, Funimation.
We don't advocate for breaking the law on this podcast.
Speak for yourself.
But we created
It's
we created
our
we
Sounds
created
like a personal problem.
we couldn't like actually form a club that hit like as many points as we wanted to, so we formed a cosplay club. And for a while, we created like a false demographic where there was like 2 straight people, and like for a long time, no, we both became gay. We did, but for like the longest time, we had like an entire group of people who all sat together, who all planned together. And every single one of them was part of the LGBTI community. So the point where they left the college, they forgot that most of the world was not that way. And I was one of them too. Who was like, oh yeah, I'm like one of 2 gay people at my job.
Oh yeah, we're from redneck country, New York.
Yeah, we
it's
are.
fine.
We don't even have a pride parade, and that's sad. We're trying to fix it.
We're
We're trying to fix it. We have people in
It's
high
also
places.
Watertown, New York.
But there is actually okay. So
Yeah, you guys get it.
We're in the middle.
You just saw like that look of recognition where you're like, oh, you're screwed.
they're so cool for community that there actually is like an underground guerrilla gay bar that I'm now a
Oh
part
yeah.
of. And like
wanna
I was
go.
like so excited because I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna wear that to my next pride. And this guy's
You're
like, come with
officially a
us.
gay. It's official.
What's the password to the secret underground gay bar?
I just got like sent a link. Like randomly, and it said like gorilla gay bar, and I'm just like sold. I'll go.
That sounds like the Nigerian prince is trying new ways. He needs money. He's in a bind.
So, moving on. So Tora-Con has a lot of attendees. Like
Yes.
every year, this is my 3rd year attending Tora-Con, and I know it's a huge major con. And every year, I'm surprised at how many people are here.
Yeah.
How many people
And
they
so, like we
count?
said earlier, anime's common ground is consumption. So, for people who are looking to kind of get started in creating, in cosplaying, or making art, or vending, or anything like that, what would you tell them? What tips do they need to get started?
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just
honestly.
do it.
There are really simple rules of being a cosplayer, okay, guys? 1, pick a character you like. 2, acquire money.
Acquire money.
Failed step
3,
2.
Fail step 2.
Fail step 2.
3, if you somehow succeed, step 2, either buy the cosplay or buy things to put the cosplay together. And then 4, put on the cosplay.
Step 5, profit.
So for step number 3, where you have to make it, I suggest crying and sleeping on the fabric. Doesn't make it happen, but it makes you feel a little bit better.
Yeah, and then like call up a friend who can toss down some fabric and like whip out a vest within an
Get
hour.
some Sharpies.
Some Sharpies.
Some Sharpies.
That's
But
going on my next cosplay.
Don't be afraid. If you don't think that your level's there yet, don't be afraid. I actually
still have
like
that
love
costume. I
cosplay
want
no
it.
matter how many levels. One of my favorite ones that I've seen is a guy who was so hyped when he went to RockCon that he went to Party City, bought a Spider-Man outfit, and like his clothes were in the Party City bag as he was walking around the con. And like that's such a level of getting into the hype that like I just love that still. It's been like a few years since I've seen that, and every time that I think about it, it just makes me happy.
I still think of like my very first Tora-Con, which was, I think this is literally my 10th year at Tora-Con. Yay me.
You've almost been here every year.
I'm old. I feel older and older every day.
It's like that's happening. for
I
real.
know, it's like I'm aging or something. It's weird.
Time's a man-made construct.
Yeah, and it's like, Yeah, maybe my first cosplays weren't good, but I sure did make them and put them on, and it led me to where I am today. I wouldn't be there if I didn't have that piece of Sharpie history.
But yeah, don't be afraid. Go to the panels, go to the events, go meet creators. They're really cool for the most part.
You don't even have to dress
Like
up. You can just
90%
show up.
of guests and events are really phenomenal to learn. There's so many workshopping things going on at cons now too. Just don't be afraid to go out there and try new things. It's actually pretty amazing.
Yes. That.
And
What-
if you fail, then just fail at it because it's better to fail than to
You'll
like sit at
learn
home and
from
never
your
try.
failure. That's how it works. When you failed, you learned a thing.
Right.
So now you can take that thing and try to not fail.
Right.
And maybe you'll
Excuse
still
me, failure isn't an option.
No, I failed out of my first college. Failure is 100% an option. It's like one of the most powerful things that a professor has actually
God,
ever
you'd
told
be terrible
me
with
that-
NASA.
No, like legit, like one of the most powerful things that a professor ever told me was that he failed out of his second semester of college.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And like to have like my accounting professors like, yeah, I failed my first accounting exam that I ever took. And he teaches accounting now.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid. Take setbacks. Like I was actually in school to be like an English teacher at one point in my life. Funny story there.
Yeah.
Now I do this
You
for a living.
escaped. Congrats.
You didn't. No, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Failure is a thing, but don't let it get you down.
Yeah.
Cool. So, looking a little bit more at like the specific things you do, are there any weird like niche specific tips you wish you knew when you got started? Like, what's the like secret technique to what it is that you do?
You have to learn how to deal with all personality types. It's a crazy thing that people don't really prepare you for, but you have to like be set to go, yeah, no, this is what I make, and don't be like afraid to be like, yeah, it's not what you like, but it's what I do. So, and like I kind of tried staying mainstream at first. I wasn't doing that well, and then I was like, well, why am I being mainstream? And I wanted to be the at-home booth, like where people could come to and feel safe. And that was part of it, but like you have to learn how to talk to people. I've got like booth leeches, I've got rude people. I love going to craft shows and having go like, well, have you tried making it like this instead? Yeah, I didn't like it. Go make it yourself.
Yeah. Don't use ace bandages as a binder.
Yeah.
Get a real binder. It's expensive, but it's worth it. Please
And
save
duct tape
yourself.
is not safe.
Duct tape is not safe.
Duct tape is not safe. You can actually develop like allergies to the ingredients in duct tape over time.
Yes.
I've had friends who've done this themselves, and it was like a week's worth of welts that we had to like help her heal.
Please, for those who love you, please just get a real binder. They're only like $30.
We're not sure if this is what you were after, but please.
Please.
This is exactly what I was after, so thank you.
Please.
Like I actually can't, and if you cannot wear a binder safely, you'll notice that I'm not binding. I had pneumonia over the summer. I have like stomach issues, and I have like asthma now. I cannot safely wear a binder.
If you feel sick in any way while you're wearing a binder, take it off. Go into the bathroom. Even just take it off for a minute and let yourself breathe. But like, your health is way more important than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
Trust me, like after like 3 months of almost dying from pneumonia,
Yeah, it's really cold out. Please wear a coat, people. It was snowing yesterday.
it's Tora-Con. Of course, it's snowing.
I know it could be June, and it would be snowing at Tora-Con. That's how it works.
As a Rochester native, can confirm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's okay, the con's only like 70% outdoors.
it's fine. It's fine.
Hey, they managed to get most of the
70%
line
is
going
the
to the
walk-in.
badge pickup inside this year, which was like a miracle and a half.
I know that's the first year that's happened. Usually
Yeah.
it's like the first 20 people are inside and everyone else is outside.
Yeah, the last time that they had the convention in March, it was freezing like rain the entire weekend.
It sucked.
And it was really weird going onto like Facebook the day that we left. And it was like an hour till I leave for Tora-Con, and I'm just like, oh no, that was then.
Yeah. What about you? What? Do you have anything to say?
I forgot what we were talking about.
Get sleep in before the con.
Yeah, please sleep. It's
Please
important.
sleep, stay hydrated.
Hydrate. Eat real food, not just Pocky.
I feel like that was calling out a specific person, not gonna
Yes,
lie.
I was calling out myself. Myself from 10 years ago needs to learn how to eat proper.
The poutine truck is amazing in the parking lot, and it's gonna probably be my sole meal the entire time that I'm here. Not gonna lie.
Make sure you eat something, please.
Stay at hotels with complimentary breakfasts.
Yeah.
Okay, so our final question in this segment, any upcoming projects? Anything?
We're coming back to Flower City in like 2 weeks.
We're dead inside.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So like after this convention, I have to go home and restock entirely
What
again.
is this, the fourth
Because
convention
I'm
in a
really
month?
glad that people like the pillows at this one. I never plan on selling out the pillows the first like hour of the con.
And it's happened almost both times.
Yeah. Like the pillows still take me by surprise. But one, we got like more cons coming up. I'm always looking into like starting projects. I am currently a long time writing a novel called
Hello?
Wait, Assistance?
Wait, you
Someone
were
needs assistance, heroes activate.
wait, you were a writer.
Yeah, I am a writer. I
You
just
deceived us.
I mean, they said they were almost an English teacher. I
Yeah.
thought that was established.
So there's like 2 long-term projects going on. One, I've been asked to help start a convention in Watertown, New York again.
Again.
And it's because I was the founder of Canon Con while I was there.
And then it
And we had 2 months to put everything together, which is a true like disaster con ready to happen, okay? We got green lighted in January and the convention was April 1st. No way, we got green light. No way, I'm being generous.
No.
We got that green light in
It
February.
was like the end of January, so
Yeah.
this is
The
yeah.
beginning of the semester time.
Yeah.
April 1st is when we had Canon Con going. I had 2 months. I wasn't allowed to advertise
Oh yeah.
because PR had never dealt with an event of that magnitude before that ran multiple days and had 30 events happening within the event. And somehow we profited the first year, and it's still a miracle to this day.
We don't know how we did that.
So, and recently people have found out that I was the founder of Canon Con. So now there's stuff in the work to make another Watertown Con. And then on top of that, I started writing the book, and it's called Once Upon a Seam. And I didn't know what the story was going to be about, and I'm really hoping that I get it hammered out this year. But it's about a girl who makes all the dresses for princesses. Not being a princess themselves. They want nothing to do with being a princess life, none of it's for them. They just want to make dresses for princesses.
That's fair.
And the prince himself was like, you know what, I'm gonna rescue this damsel in distress. Jokes, still doesn't want to be royalty, actually gender fluid. And it's like an entire novel about how staying true to yourself, while it may not be the best thing in life, is far more rewarding than going with the easiest way out.
That's so wholesome.
Yeah, and it's called Once Upon a Seam, so keep an eye on it.
I wonder if you took that from your experiences in sewing.
I don't know if it's from, locking myself into a hallway for 2 weeks straight, making princess dresses every time I do this in my life.
Yeah.
I like ball gowns, okay? I made 2 wedding dresses for myself, and I'm never gonna do another one in my life.
Yeah.
400 fairy lights.
Yeah. Don't do that to yourself again. That,
Oh yeah, I got married at a convention.
oh yeah.
That's so cool.
Casual thought. How many of you have heard of Katsucon? Yeah, one of the big ones, yeah. So, Katsucon, last year, I knew that my mother wanted a really traditional wedding. It's just funny. Because clearly I'm not a traditional human being. So, we got everything planned out. We're gonna go get eloped at Katsucon. So, we actually got married, like, right on the Potomac in the convention center. So, I'm sorry for putting every con engagement story to shame, but we got flash married into a convention center, and the photographer actually found like 8 bridesmaids who were either Disney princesses or like from Game of Thrones, which is perfect. But that dress itself had like, I think 100 yards of tulle in it.
Very
Alexandra actually had to help me get into the dress, turn on all of the lights. It was
you
freezing
call me
rain.
Alexander?
Yeah, it was
Yes.
Ross.
You're like that person at the voting booth.
That was beautiful. Alexander. My name's Alexandra, whatever you're presenting as today.
That's nice, but that's the name of my ID.
Yeah,
That's an unbelievable plural mood you've got there. Thanks.
right.
Thanks.
So, it was like freezing rain that weekend. There was like a sheet of ice everywhere. I actually fell on the way to the convention to get married. And like someone's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Please get the dress off the ground."
Don't worry about me. Just save the dress.
But like we actually got like dressed in like a back hallway at the convention center because we couldn't fit the dress into one of the bathrooms.
Yep.
Which was hilarious in itself. And people just thought it was like a wild ride that we were like trying to get like this wedding dress on and then turned on. And like the wig turned on and the bouquet turned on. And by that point we'd been able to test nothing So the entire wedding, I was praying that nothing would catch on fire.
Now, you know, romantic candlelit wedding.
Romantic.
You're the candle.
I am the candle. A woman is a fire.
On the bright side, it was only you we had to worry about catching on fire. He was fine.
He was fine. It's me.
How about you two, though? Any upcoming projects, whether, you know, for this community or not?
Well, this is actually my first convention in a year. KJ mentioned they were sick last year. I was also on and off sick, not to the extent that they were. They were like literally dying. I was just kind of in that mood of, I can go to work, but not much else. I sure am alive, I think. So this is my first convention in little under 2 years,
Yeah.
I think.
I think Rock-Con was the last one that we
I
went
think
to.
Rock-Con 2017 was the last one I
Because
went
we didn't
to.
get into Tora-Con last year, which was sad.
Yeah, I didn't come to Tora last year, but I can't say I was too heartbroken when I felt like terribleness
Yeah.
the whole time. So I'm excited to just get back into this community in general. This is my first costume that I made since I made Sora that year.
Yeah.
And that was twice the work that this thing was, and I continue to be on and off sick, so this isn't 100% finished, which is why it's tied around my waist, like a nerd.
I totally didn't go to Hot Topic and buy a bunch of stuff to be, you know,
It's fine.
in cosplay.
I didn't put this together in the hotel room. It's fine. But I'm excited to get back into something that I love now that I have the money and literal physical ability to do so. I guess the next thing is to actually finish this Deku costume. That'd be kind of important, I guess.
You got 2 weeks to the next one.
Don't remind me, please. I might actually die.
Sounds like a Cards Against Humanity game. What's the quickest way to death? Cosplay.
Blood. What brings the family together? Blood.
Blood rituals.
Blood rituals.
A Dwayne The Rock Johnson cutout that you definitely did not steal from the movie poster.
And just hide in the bathroom to scare the shit out of your husband.
I did. I did.
That was the thing. I don't. Well, I feel like there's something I'm forgetting. Am I forgetting something?
Well,
I forget many things.
we have a few bits left, so be sure, you can bring it up if you remember.
Cosplay is happening.
Cosplay is...
Cosplay.
I
Cosplay,
honestly just
sure.
kind of excited that we got Alexandra to go on vacation for like a little bit.
I know. We literally haven't seen her since I think Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's
We
March.
haven't seen most of our friends since Christmas, by the way.
I need to
I
finish.
barely saw you around Christmas.
Right? Like, it was like a quick
I saw you once, I think, maybe. I don't remember.
Will we ever get the D&D band back together and finally...
No. I'm just gonna stop you right there.
No, you will not. It's not gonna happen.
Okay, Alexandra, what's coming up for you?
Getting my degree
Graduating.
That's extremely valid.
and transferring away from this hell town.
Please tell us what your majors are, crazy person.
Right now, I am a paralegal and business major, and I'm looking at transferring. I've looked at a couple different schools right now. I'm leaning toward Purchase, but I might not actually go to Purchase. I don't know yet. I'm looking to transfer over to a history major.
Two jobs and a law degree, you crazy person.
I'm mostly done with that one.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Okay, we're running out of time very, very fast here, so let's move on to the final segment of the show. The listener questions. It's actually viewer questions today. I always almost habitually say viewer questions because I'm used to live streaming, but today it's accurate.
So we have time for maybe one or two.
Raise your hands if you have questions. Okay, we'll start over here.
We'll go this way, I guess.
Okay, host Peter. My question is, how did you guys end up, like, you said you're from around Watertown or somewhere, right?
Yeah.
How'd you end up coming to Tora-Con?
We're gonna have to do these questions like rapid fire. So.
Tora-Con is literally the only local convention to us back then, so yeah.
Yeah, I fell into it. My parents brought me here, and I was like, okay, and then I just didn't stop coming.
Other people brought me here because it was the local con.
I think that's
Okay.
the only convention my mother's ever gone to.
Yep.
Next question.
Case on humans, how do you, like, if I can't draw and I don't have any business skills, how can I still support, like going to cons and whatnot? Like, how do I, like, still produce stuff if I can't draw and I can't buy things?
Okay. So
Goodwill.
Goodwill.
Yeah.
Goodwill.
Make
Yeah.
find a niche you're good at.
A lot of practice. Like the thing is, like everyone's like, oh, I don't have like. There's natural skills, but even people with natural skills still have to hone those skills over time.
If there's
So,
something you want to do,
It takes
then do
practice. If you even get like a crappy MS Paint program, that's how I taught
it.
myself.
You
how
could be
to
a
draw.
You could be
And
a
it was
cardboard
free.
Gundam, and people will love you.
Yeah.
Or you can find a thing you want to try and try it, or you can find a thing that you're already really good at that maybe you don't think has to do with it, and then you can see
Yeah.
if that applies.
Find people who are willing to help too, because that was like the major thing.
Make
is
friends.
that well, I taught myself everything because I didn't have friends apparently.
Yeah, same. My mother taught me how to turn
YouTube.
on a sewing machine, and that's it.
YouTube's my final comment.
Last question.
I know all of your pronouns, but what are your sexualities? Or like what people do you like?
They're very excited to answer the question.
Right?
Okay.
That was a very to the point question too.
I don't know if the mic caught that question. So the question was basically like, what are our sexualities? So I usually just call myself queer. I'm attracted to not men.
That's very
Valid.
I'm very
Valid.
specifically attracted to this girl who is my whiff.
Well, fiance.
Yay.
You're my whiff. The law cannot stop that.
Congrats.
I'm a lesbian.
Lesbian.
Nice.
I consider myself,
Solidarity.
because I'm gender fluid, I consider
Lesbian solidarity.
lesbian solidarity. I consider myself pansexual, and that's because it doesn't matter what's in your pants, it's what's in your heart. Aww.
That's the sappiest thing
And
I've heard all day.
Kingdom Hearts.
I am a gender fluid, demisexual, and happily married
To a man.
to Tyler.
Yeah.
To a scientist.
To a scientist.
Okay.
He sure is a human being, we think.
Yeah.
Okay, final segment that we're gonna do lightning round, like we did last live show actually. This is Kaylee's question of the week. It's just the normal question. Don't worry about it.
It's fine. It's not a special question of the week.
No. If you can have one anime power in real life, what do you want?
I want the power to look half as fabulous as any JoJo's Bizarre Adventure character.
That's a good one.
That's a good.
If I had to choose right now, I would just want to have Dark Shadow as part of my life because he's so adorable and needs love and attention.
Am I a basic bitch if I just want one for all?
I don't know, Deku, are you?
I'm here to punch people in the face, and I don't need much
Excuse
else.
you, he kicks.
I can do both. I have 4 limbs for now,
Why don't you just kick down doors like I do?
because I'm not rude.
Wow. You just want a lion. You just want a giant space cat, don't you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Cat butt, Totoro cat bus, probably.
I want the ability to create cats. Like,
I'll allow it.
just be like.
You just want to be that
It's
character
not.
who
It's not
attracts all
actual.
the cats.
Fine. I want the sparkly eyes. Like boom, anime.
I will also allow that.
I'm gonna go with Kamina's power from Gurren Lagann, which is just, it works if I wanted to. It works this way because I wanted to. Shut up!
Okay, well, that's pretty much an entire podcast. I'm bad at PowerPoints. So really quick, go down the line. All of you, give your plugs. Where can people find you on or off the internet?
You can find me in the Gordon Fieldhouse like today and tomorrow, but Terminally Cosplay Productions, Terminally Cosplay, Techo Productions is another one. Basically, if you look up Terminally Cosplay, I'm going to be like mostly the human that shows up. In the future, it will be Space Ace Fantasy because I'm finally growing out of being a Homestuck trash can.
It only took many years.
Yep.
5
Listen
years.
here, that fearless chick.
Yeah, the username I made when I was 18, and we all thought I was still a chick. Well, actually, technically, I don't have the K on my Twitter because it was too long, so it's Dat Fearless Chic. I'm currently avoiding Twitter because I'm avoiding KH3 spoilers because I still haven't finished it.
Oh.
That's a mood.
Same.
Don't say a word or I will kill you.
KH3 got spoiled for me in the lobby of JCC, so
I'm sorry. I feel for you.
It's okay, Game of Thrones got spoiled for me on ESPN.
I also have a Tumblr under the same username, except there is a K, and that's where I post my art if anyone cares to see it.
that is bold of you to post your Tumblr on. Everyone knows.
Literally, it's just my art now. It's there. You can look at it.
How deep do you have to dig to get the cringy stuff?
Hey, do you want the real answer to that question?
Listen here, if we're gonna burn some bridges, I've seen your AO3 account.
Oh, yeah, and none of you are getting it.
I will not tell you the AO3 account. I'll take that one with me to the grave.
You better.
Or else I will be in my grave.
Yeah, basically.
She'll start
Okay,
those
Alexandra?
I mean, that's a pretty, my Instagram, Havens Pride Lands, is a good one to find me. You can try, to find me on a Ham for Ham Sandwich on Instagram as well. That's my personal one. It's the one I post more on. But I'm going to change the handle here pretty soon, and I just don't know what I'm going to change it to yet. So,
You'll just have to sleuth that one out if you're listening to this recording later.
right. Anyone got any suggestions?
You're not Hamilton trash anymore. You don't need that username.
To be fair, we had far too many humans with a name close to yours.
Yeah.
We had
But
some
now
fallout.
I need a different name.
Now that the rest of them have finally moved away, you get to reclaim your own name again and not be associated with other people.
I'll be associated with a sandwich.
Okay, well, I think that about wraps it up. We are now officially 2 minutes over time, so let's settle this out. Thank you all so much for watching, listening to this episode of Setting the Record Queer. If you enjoyed this podcast, maybe consider supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/settingtherecordqueer. You get some cool stuff for it. Normally, we don't talk about our patrons at live shows, but we have our $25 patron right here in the audience, so thanks, Kadevo. We appreciate you. If you don't have money because you spent it all coming to this con, you can also follow or like this podcast on your social media, subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast, tell a friend, recommend us on your social media, on your Twitter or whatever. We're on Twitter at STRQueercast. Email settingtherecordqueer@gmail.com, or come join our community Discord and hang out with us and some of our listeners and even a couple of our guests who have decided to grace us with their presence at bit.ly/STRQcord. The logo that you see up there was drawn by Cubotic. That's QBTIC on Twitter, or Cobot, QOBOT.tumblr.com. The theme music that you heard at the beginning of the episode and are about to hear again is by Thrill Me Music. You can find more about her work at thrillmemusic.squarespace.com. This podcast was edited by no one because it was done live and produced by that field recorder.
Yay!
Thank you so much
Field
for
recorder!
listening. We will see you in your podcast feed.